Good day out there, you craft beer lovers. You know who you are. Ask for more out of life than just typical average beer. Look at that, man. That's cool. Look at that nice carbonation coming off the top. Looks like it's like a volcano or something. So this is a Belgian quad that I homebrewed. It's in a dogfish bottle, which I've talked about before. Dogfish bottles are pretty solid. See a little dogfish there. Dogfish was the craft brewery that pretty much opened my eyes to craft brews in general. We did a lost weekend down there, some buddies and I, about 13 years ago, I would say. Belgians don't have a lot of carbonation in it, so this looks like it might have more in it than you would suppose. It's going to even out really quick. But it's a Belgian quad. But we were down at Dogfish in Rehoboth, got a really cheap hotel for Saturday night. Showed up about noon on Saturday. Didn't conclude our enjoyment of the beer and food until approximately 1:30, 2 o'clock Sunday morning, and then happened to walk back to the hotel. It was close enough to walk back to. It's a long walk. It's only 2 blocks away, but it was long, believe me. So this is a homebrew I did. I got this kit off of Amazon. I don't remember the name of the company. Beer something or other. It's a good deal though, because it's the kit was less than like 45 bucks, and most homebrew kits make 5 gallons, and if you turn that into 12 ounces, how many beers is that? It's about 2 cases, give or take a few. Sometimes you can get 49, 50 maybe if you're lucky. What I did is I bought actually a double kit, a Belgian double, and I turned it into a quad. I was figuring the malt profile would probably be strong enough to move it up to a quad just by adding some more corn sugar. So this is the rule of thumb if you want to increase your homebrew alcohol. For every 5 gallons, if you put another pound of corn sugar into it, that adds 1% ABV. And so 2 pounds which is what I did here. Maybe move this beer from like an 8% to like a 10 point something. Still tastes fine. Again, it has strong enough malt profile to be able to do that sugar thing too without ruining it. To be careful. I have generally pretty good luck when I tweak a kit, but there's been some times that I've created some Franken brews that turned out to be okay in the long run, but they were either really volatile or kind of crazy hoppy and did weird things to the opening of the bottles that they would foam over, not when the bottle was open, but when they were poured into glasses. It was really weird. So it had a lot to do with the hop resins just suppressing the carbonation until it hit oxygen, and once it did, went crazy. So let me give you a little bit of analysis here. This is an East Branch glass. That's a brewery down in Downingtown. It's a restaurant brewery close to the main line, so it's pretty expensive, but we took my dad to there a couple weeks ago. My brother and I got to play some disc golf down at a disc golf course in Downingtown first. It was a nice day. It was the first day of trout season. Sounds like somebody's backing up out there. I hear the backward sound when a truck goes backwards. Apologize for the surface noise here. So they were giving away these glasses. Actually, the server said, "Hey, with the triples today, you get to take the glass." And I was like, "I'm gonna steal it anyway. I'm such a joker." And she laughed. So anyway, that's how I went up this glass. I don't steal glasses from breweries. That's low, man. Like taking towels from a hotel or something. So Belgian glasses are a little bit different design. Usually a Belgian quad glass would be a little bit open, more of a mouth, but this bottom part being round like this is pretty typical. I can show you what a Belgian glass would look like. Oh, let's take a look here. So this is what a quad glass would look like. That's the Chimay right there, so it's more open, up the top. A triple would be more narrow like that. This is more of a triple glass because this is a Dubble. So this looks more like this, just a bigger version. This is more of a quad or double glass. I'll be back here in a minute, folks. Hold on. Oh, yes. Good friend of mine got a Schmitz malt liquor glass from me one time. He found it at a garage sale. Funny guy that he is. Let me see if I can get you the bowl there. Check that out. That's a collector's item right there. I apologize for it being a little scruffy. I did not intend to be doing a glass demonstration. But hey, it seemed like the right thing to do. So that's what we did. Sometimes the bottles, these home brews, can get a little bit murky. There's still yeast down there that's alive. That's all right to pour some of that in there. But it might be best to pass on the last half ounce and just call it a day. I don't know. I might drink it. I might. I don't want to cloud this up, though. So let me give you a quick rundown here. This is a Belgian quad. This is the grand piano of Belgians, the grand piano of beers in general. Belgians do not get enough respect. I've talked about that before. If you're a craft beer lover and you don't like Belgians, my one question for you is, what's wrong with you? There's more to craft beer than IPAs. Not that IPAs are wrong. Don't get me wrong. I love IPAs. But you should put into your beer portfolio some Belgians. Appreciate the fact that they've been doing it since like the 15th century. And without good Belgian beer, we'd all be stuck with light lagers, man. We'd all be stuck with freaking Coors or something along those lines. So this is an analysis of this beer. The quad's a very, very malty. That's why with the Chimay, it's like a more open and a wider top. That breathes better. A triple doesn't have to breathe as much. It's not quite as malty. It's more sugar created alcohol than the malt. This is a combination. I had a friend of mine try one of these yesterday. We were watching the Sixers game. Sixers lost to the Raptors. Joel Embiid has torn ligaments in his right thumb. Any Sixers fans starting to feel a little bit nervous because Doc Rivers doesn't have the best reputation, the best record about finishing series out. The man, as a coach, has been in charge of teams that have collapsed in the playoffs. That's a beef against Doc Rivers. I don't know. With Embiid hurting his thumb, that's a big part of the basketball. When you play inside and you shoot and you grab rebounds, thumb is pretty important. Who knows how painful it is? I have to assume that when you tear ligaments in your thumb, it hurts like hell. Like hell. But Joel had an interview a couple days ago where he said, "We Africans are used to pain." He's from Cameroon. Says the other guy on the other team, Samaki or whatever his name is, the skinny guy, he torched the Sixers last night. So the Sixers lost. It's now 3-1. They better win tomorrow night. Put the series out. Take it out tomorrow. So a buddy of mine's not a big beer drinker, but I brought down a beer Penelope yesterday. Is that what they call it? Penelope, Panoply, Panoply. I don't know. Penelope of beers. And I had a Sierra Nevada hop torpedo. I had some Yangling Lager. I had a Belgian, and I gave him a choice. Like, I got 3 different beers. What do you like? And he decided to try the Belgian. And he was very complimentary of this. He enjoyed it quite a bit. And so it's probably about 11% alcohol. It's super, super malty. Not very hoppy. That's very traditional for Belgians. Belgians can be hoppy if they're doing an unusual style. But traditionally, Belgian beers are low on the hops and high on the malt and high on the sugars, which ferment out. They have to be fermented for a longer period of time. They store extremely well because there's still live yeast inside this bottle. They age like a wine would. So if you have a friend or an acquaintance that likes like a red Malbec or something. I'm not a wine guy, pretty much. I'll just buy whatever's at the store on a good price. I won't buy anything out of a box usually. And I don't buy hard liquor out of a rubber bottle. Man, those are two danger signs to me. A box, number one, for wine, because inside that box, a bunch of plastic. That's not sitting inside only a box. There's a big plastic bag that it's just soaking all those resins out of the plastic, and alcohol's a solvent, so I don't like that. Or a rubber or plastic bottle for hard booze. That's a bad sign if you drop the bottle and it bounces. And no, 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 no. So my rule of thumb is no box wine if I can help it. I'll make some exceptions to the rule there if I'm traveling or something, or somebody got it at a party and that's all there is to drink, I'll drink it. But my dad buys booze in plastic bottles. That's just a bad sign, man. You gotta have glass. Glass is very, very clean. So this is fermenting out still. The alcohol doesn't change a lot. It helps the carbonation for sure, but it ages the beer and it makes it taste better. Like I said, this is malty. It's got enough carbonation in it to have a little bit of effervescence. It doesn't lose it entirely. I've had a problem with the capping on a couple of these bottles. I brewed 2 cases of this, like I said, and a couple of caps weren't on tight enough, and the beer was still okay, but it was kind of flat. So a bit of carbonation is important with a really, really malty beer. Otherwise, it feels kind of gummy. It does feel like wine, and wine's fine when it's not carbonated. They do things to wine to make it that way. Put sulfites in it and stuff to kill the yeast. You can drink sparkling wine, also known as champagne, if you get it from a certain part of France. But this is malty, probably about 11% alcohol. Case would cost about $25 if you homebrew. It's not something that can be done quickly. It's best to let the beer store in an upright or side position down in a cooler location. These don't get served chilled. I just put these in this morning. They're probably about 48 degrees to 50 is the ideal. If you're drinking Yuengling lager, you got to make that thing cold, about 40. Once it gets up to 50, all the skank comes out of the Yuengling lager. All those bad ingredients that Yuengling puts in their beer come out. They come out like the ghost or the demons. You got to keep that coldness in there to suppress that off flavor. This will warm up really, really nicely, even though it's better a bit chilled. Belgians don't chill their beer like lagers. You know, they're a little bit served a little bit warmer. But good rule of thumb is good coffee will taste good if it's cool. A good beer will taste good if it's warm. It doesn't matter if its normal serving temperature is lower, it'll still taste good when it reaches a higher temperature. Those are some rules of thumb about how you can tell if your coffee or your beer are of the highest quality possible. A cold coffee, it tastes good. It doesn't have to be hot to taste good. So this fortunately tastes good. If you bought a case of this at the store, similar quality of a quad, believe it or not, you pay about $75, $80 for this. So I only homebrew. I don't homebrew just because I want to go out and duplicate a beer that I could buy at a store for the same price. There's another word for that. That's idiocy. If I could do all that work and all that sweat and all that labor and all the washing of the bottles and all that brewing and all that bottling and all you wind up with is something you could have bought at the store for the same price, you are an idiot. Or at least that's the way I look at it. You ain't a smart person. But if you brew something that takes some sweat equity, but you wind up getting about twice as much beer for the same price, then that's worth it. So I only brew beers that are worth my time. I'm not that bored right now. Maybe I will be at some point where I just brew because I don't got anything else better to do. But right now, that's not the case. I do have a Bierkergaard podcast about the writings of Soren Kierkegaard. So it's Bierkergaard. Last week was pretty massive. I had a lot of people listen to it. It's pretty cool. Hopefully that continues. Somebody dissed me though. They say I ramble too much. Me? I don't ramble. I don't know where they got that complaint from. Boy, talk about a cheap shot. But anyway, hope you all are doing well. Enjoy the beer. Drink intelligently. I waited until about 4:15 before cracking this brewski. Coming up on here in 15 minutes. These beers are often brewed by Catholic monks. So I'll do the sign of the cross to end. I was raised Catholic, so I know the move, man.